I made a video yesterday in the Bastogne forest where Easy Company was dug in during the early part of their Battle of the Bulge experience. And in the interest of historical accuracy, having done a little bit more research here in the town of Bastogne, I wanted to take a different video from another perspective. And this is still the village of Foy to my left, and you can see the power lines out there. That's where the woods I was in last night are at, just behind those. And then this tree line right here is actually where the attack in Band of Brothers originated from. And so what wasn't really clear to me until I came to the town and looked around, which is why it's so important to go to places like this and understand the topography, is that Easy Company had shifted and joined their 3rd Battalion for the attack on Foy. They observed Foy from the tree line I walked last night and had a lot of artillery hit them there, and there was exchanges of fire. But when they actually got up out of their holes and advanced on the city or the town of Foy, it happened from those woods right in front of me across this field. And unfortunately, that tree line is on private property. I drove up there, but there's a sign keeping people out, and I can see cattle in the field right now in the snow, so I can understand why the farmer there probably doesn't want people like me on his land every single day. But this is as close as I could get legally, and it gives you an idea of the attack. Now, this distance that they would have closed is a little bit shorter than the 800 meters I mentioned last night, but it's still open ground with one little tree line. And there's a hill, and then on the other side is the road in the town of Foy with a few little outbuildings and things like that. But the town is closer to the woods from here, and you can see they would have been able to reach the buildings right there after that mad run that they did. Now, we know in that battle that their company commander, basically froze up or freaked out in the middle of this field right here, and this is where Donald Spiers took command of Easy Company right in front of me and then took them through the rest of the war. He himself ended up being the warden of the prison in Berlin after the war and stayed in the army. When you actually drive through Foy, there are a lot of new buildings, but on the far side where I was yesterday, those are kind of newer buildings, and a lot of the older buildings are right here in front of me. And it actually makes more sense, the vantage point that's depicted in the TV show, when you look at it from this angle, and that there would have been a lot of positions the Germans could defend from. A lot of shooting, but once they could get down in the city there, and I say city, it's a small village, but once you're down into the urban area, then proper house-to-house fighting would have begun. But this is the terrain. Today's even colder than yesterday. Right now, it's 3:30 in the afternoon, starting to get dark again, and I'm gonna leave here soon, but I wanted to get one more vantage point of the battlefield of Bastogne. And then I think it's important to end my little trip by turning around and showing some of the aftermath of this war and what it meant to the countries that served and fought in it. So behind me, directly behind me, is the German war prison. Correction, I'm sorry, the German war cemetery for this area. Most of these boys are 18 or 19 years old. They died in the service of Hitler. Acres and acres. And yesterday I went to the American cemetery in Luxembourg, and same thing there. Of our boys there, most of them 18, 19 years old. It's really sobering to remember what this was really about and what war is always about. And that this happened right over the tops of people's homes and their farms